Our food supply is really under threat. Today I'm going to talk about a new player who wants to get in on the fake meat business and knock Bill Gates off his perch. That's right, it wasn't enough for this guy to sell us tiny little items packaged in massive cardboard boxes. He wants to also make fake meat. And yes, I'm talking about Jeff Bezos or Jeff Bezos or Jeff Bezos or however you want to pronounce his name. Let's check out what Jeff has been up to with his meat. Okay, so we've got a Business Insider article here, and this is all about how Jeff is pouring millions of dollars into alternative meats, otherwise known as fake meats or dog food. You know, the first thing that strikes me about this article is that it's headed food. This is not food, but we'll let them off the hook with that. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got Jeff pictured next to some plant-based meat, some plant-based not meat, actually. All right, so his Earth Fund is allocating $60 million to try to improve alternative meats. The goal is to make them taste better and reduce the cost of plant-based alternatives. We'll come back to the cost in a second. But the goal to make them taste better. The goal is to make them taste better, just like the goal is to make a chocolate bar taste better, or the goal is to make Pringles always taste better and come out with a new flavor that, has this bliss point that, no one can put it down, and you've just got to eat 2 more tubes. You can't just stop at one, that kind of thing, right? So the thing that all of these have in common, the thing that the Pringles, the chocolate bar, the ice cream, and Jeff's alternative meat has in common is that they need to taste better than what's currently available, but no one's talking about anything related to nutrition. And the reason no one's talking about anything related to nutrition is there is no nutrition in there, right? You cannot get the same nutrition from an alternative meat as you can from actually real stuff that's come from a real cow and hasn't been processed and adulterated with all sorts of chemicals. Okay. Next point. Fake meats are hailed as a way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but don't always taste great. Okay, so we're going to come back to the reduced greenhouse gas emissions, but what I will say, don't always taste great, that's an understatement. Okay, so no, we're not signing up for your newsletter. Let's just go down to the article, and that's pretty, isn't it? Okay, so Jeff Bezos's philanthropic fund is allocating $60 million for improving alternative meats by making them taste better and cost less. Okay, why would, again, as I asked about Bill Gates the other week, why would someone who's got more money than anyone else in the world, basically controls the whole world, when people in places he's never even thought of ever before think about, I need some shampoo or whatever, what do? They go onto Amazon and order their shampoo, right? He's in control of everything. And he's like, you know what? I'm not happy with this. Let's put some money into making some alternative meat, because if I can control that as well, that's some serious money. Lauren Sanchez, Bezos' fiance and the vice chair of Bezos Earth Fund, she probably got that job totally on her own merits, announced on Tuesday that the fund is investing the money as part of a $1 billion commitment to transforming the food industry. Transforming the food industry for whose benefit, Lauren? Are you qualified to even answer that question?
Finally, one last question that we're thinking a lot about. How do we feed 10 billion people with healthy, sustainable protein throughout this century? This will need a ton of innovation. We're investing heavily in livestock sector and inventions that will give consumers meat options that are better for the earth. I am thrilled to announce, very excited about this one tonight, $60 million to establish Bezos centers for sustainable protein that will help grow these ideas. Their inventions will make plant-based lab-grown meats cheaper, healthier, and tastier. And these sustainable proteins really are getting better. Trust me, I've had one, and they are getting so good. You can hardly tell the difference now. I really like them.
The $60 million will go into establishing research centers which will work to improve quality and nutrition and reduce the cost of manufacturing fake meat, according to a press release. Or we could just look at ways to reduce the costs and impact of regular beef production. We could look at regenerative farming, but there's not much money in that for you, is there, Lauren? Okay, there are also enormous opportunities to enhance the texture and boost flavor through innovation in cell biology and engineering, it said. Or we could just use real beef, and we don't need to do any engineering. And we don't need to do any cell manipulation. We don't need to do anything. Just put a bit of salt on there. Bob's your uncle. Okay, in a video interview, Andy Jarvis, director of the Future of Food at the fund, told Bloomberg that alternative meat is imperative if we are to stay within planetary boundaries, if we are to feed 10 billion people within those boundaries. Or we could look at how we could encourage more small local communities around the world to get engaged with regenerative farming. They need to cost less. They need to be more flavorful, he added. Yes, don't worry about the nutrition, just more flavorful. As long as it tastes like a cheese and onion potato chip, that's good for us. I'm not sure why it's just cheese and onion, but anyway. Okay, the Earth Fund was created in 2020 following a commitment of $10 billion from Bezos, the third richest man in the world, to fight against the climate crisis and to protect nature. Why does he care? Why is he willing to invest so much money in this? Is it philanthropy? Is it that he actually has this connection with the environment and he really wants to improve things? Or is this all about money and leveraging how easy it is to get in on making money from environmental causes because you have less pushback? Who knows? Okay, according to the United Nations Environment Programme, increased consumption of meat and dairy alternatives could contribute significantly to curbing climate-harming emissions, particularly in high and middle-income countries. Or we could look at regenerative farming, and, all our problems would be solved. A July 2022 report from the Boston Consulting Group found that investing in alternative meats has the highest emission savings per dollar of invested capital for any sector. This is BS. Let's just look at an excerpt from a piece written by the University of California, Davis. And basically, let's go up. Lab-grown meat's carbon footprint potentially worse than retail beef. Study finds scaling up production using existing processes highly energy intensive. I would never have guessed that taking a lump of mush and massaging it through lots of different processes to make it taste remotely like something resembling meat would be energy intensive. How could that be? It shouldn't just be as easy as going Bill Gates doing his magic on it. What? Okay, so thanks, Amy. All right, let's go down to that highlighted section again. This is the important part. The scientists defined the global warming potential as the carbon dioxide equivalents emitted for each kilogram of meat produced. The study found that the global warming potential of lab-based meat using these purified media is 4 to 25 times greater than the average for retail beef. But we need to protect the environment, so okay, so let's go back to the article. All right, so Boston Consulting Group, stick that up your jumper. United Nations Environment Program, stick it up your jumper. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, you know what to do. All right, and according to the Good Food Institute, why are they commenting on non-food? According to the Good Food Institute, there is an appetite for plant-based foods. No, there isn't. Only from crazy people. It's said that plant-based meat and seafood hit retail sales of $1.4 billion in the US in 2022. Perhaps, but that's $1.4 billion completely flushed down the toilet. Despite this, taste and cost remain barriers to consumers trying alternatives. Yeah, I would say taste, cost, nutrition, appearance, everything. The fact it's not meat. A third of US consumers say they won't buy plant-based meat because it costs too much. I don't think that's the only reason. People buy iPhones. They don't worry about the price. They buy an iPhone because they want an iPhone, right? They don't want this because it's garbage. That's why they're not buying it. If you put some beautiful food in front of them and said, it's really expensive, but it tastes great, people will buy it, right? Of course, you'll get people that won't be able to afford it. But, even people that don't have a lot of money will find the money to buy the thing, as they do with iPhones, right? But people don't want to buy this, not because of the price, because it's garbage. It's slop. Okay, continuing on. Business Insider's Grace Dean reported last August that Beyond Meat sales tanked by nearly a third in Q2 of 2023 because financially squeezed consumers were switching to cheaper proteins or forgoing altogether. Again, that's not why they tanked. It's because they are garbage and people are not willing to pay for garbage. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. It's fake meat made from chemicals that tastes like slop. People don't want to buy this stuff. That's why it's tanking. It's not because they are being money conscious. Okay, we need to be eating real meat, and we need to be eating real meat because it is more environmentally sustainable than creating plant-based slop, and it has the added bonus of giving you all the nutrition that you need. It is complete nutrition. And it's not full of canola oil. And if you want to discover why you shouldn't be eating canola oil, watch this video next.